You're a grown adult. And other takes like, we used to have good transformations that One Piece tried to be unique. Motherfuckers will complain that all shonen are the same and then have takes like this. Good takes, right? Literally good takes. Something happens. Something happens. The moment that so many people hated to the point they dropped the series. Now, to give you context about what happened in this scene. Basically, Urza here, Fairy Tail, if you know Fairy Tail, Urza here was fighting the person considered to be the strongest female wizard in the world. Like in the entire series, right? She was considered to be the strongest female wizard. And it's also her mother. But that actually really doesn't matter until the very end. Because she very clearly states that she does not care for her daughter and want her to die. But like inherently there was still this thing, blah blah blah. You know? But anyway. Basically what happens in this scene is her arms and legs are broken. And yet somehow, some way, she had enough power to launch herself into the air. This is after she has been fighting for days, right? And she just fought the strongest female wizard. And they're still fighting. They're still fighting. But at this point, her arm was broken, her legs were broken, and she still had enough power to launch herself into the air and destroy a meteor. You heard that right. Destroy a meteor that was the size of the city that they're fighting in. Yeah, I understand why people would drop the series at this point. Even though there's like only like 10 episodes beyond this. But still, I understand why. Like if you listen to my explanation, you understand, hey, that doesn't make sense. Huh? So I say, after rewatching all of Fairy Tail, I can safely say that every single one of Erza's fights are plot armor BS, and even then this takes the cake. She lost all mobility except for one arm, all of her magic used up, and she still had enough power to destroy a meteor that covered Magnolia. Oh, and the funny thing is that after this scene, immediately, she slashes the strongest female wizard, who is in her dragon form, which should be stronger than her base form, and she took it out in one swing. After her magic was spent. Oh, but she wasn't actually completely out of magic. Shut up. So, what happens? Says every fight only focuses on one. This is the most important. Like, yeah, and then they like bring up like, oh, Goku and his arm was able to destroy a planet. Goku did the same thing to kill King Piccolo, but I don't care. Let me preface this by saying I literally do not care about what happens in other shows because I was talking about purely this moment in Fairy Tail. But people love comparing it to other shows as if they have some kind of point when those verses are literally different. The power system is different, the power balancing, the power scaling, it's all different. Like, character being badass is plot armor. Like, yeah, and that's fine, but I don't have to like it. I think a lot of people made the mistake of thinking, oh, because it's plot armor, or like, oh, because it's badass, you have to take it as such and just like enjoy it for what it is. But no, I don't have to. I don't have to enjoy that. It's bullshit. It's genuine bullshit. Okay, I will say, I did in fact say all of Urza's fights, but I've recently recanted that statement. Not all of her fights. Like 2, 3, right? Urza versus Midnight, which is something that we're going to talk about. And then Urza versus Kagura and Minerva. Is there another fight where I genuinely think that it wasn't bullshit? But yeah, it's just like a bunch of shit that people were saying. Yeah, the ending because Natsu decided to One Punch Man on Akuma Logia in the end. And then people were like debating like, but actually it was like all the Dragon Slayer's magic was enchanted onto Natsu by Wendy, and then which means that he was basically on Dragon God level, which means that he was able to take out Akuma Logia because Akuma Logia was on a ship and contained within a fairy sphere, which because motion sickness is something that happens to every Dragon Slayer, was weakening him, and he also had lost control of his main body because of the time rift power that he absorbed, which caused his personality to be split basically. So like he couldn't transform into a dragon, and like he was trying to contain it from within. Like yeah, that's whatever, but I'm talking about Ursa, right? Again, best fight in the story except for 2. Like I didn't even read everything. I'm the top 3 wizard of the guild. See, it's stuff like this where I'm just like, that doesn't fucking matter, because every guild has S-class wizards. The funny thing is, we're gonna mention S-class wizards soon. Try harder. No, I'm not crying. No, she just like that. That is how it's explained in the story as well. It's like, oh, well, it's just Ursa. She does the impossible. Ho 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 ho. If that's not bat writing, I don't know what is. Hey. I believe it's plot armor. Her having insane endurance means that she's strong, not plot armor BS. By that logic, Zoro's nothing happened is also plot armor. Again, people compare it to another show. Whoa! And by the way, we do talk about the Zoro thing. Her fights are assballs. See, someone that's actually smart. Missed the fucking... Wait. I want everyone to know... I didn't read like half the shit, so this is new. This is new to me. His strongest attack and barely anyone thought it was BS. Oh, strongest attack, but then someone that has lost like mobility and everything except for one arm, which is just not the strongest attack. You know, it's like, it's stuff like that. Like you compare it to 2 different moments and you're already showing why you lack proper comprehension. People hate it, but then again, I'm talking about this purely. I'm not talking about anything else because people love comparing it to different shows, but they're literally different. They're different shows for a reason, you know? It's like, whatever. I'm talking about this and this only. I fucking hate it when people bring like another show. Oh, well, this is fucking awesome. No, shut up, dude. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. So what the hell is this? Want everyone to know he never bothered to read or watch old school Dragon Ball. Again, comparing it to a different show, and also I actually haven't watched old school Dragon Ball. I just, when I was a kid, like Dragon Ball Z was already going, and I looked at like some Dragon Ball clips, and I thought like the animation style was just like kind of outdated, not really interesting. That's why I won't watch Yu Yu Hakusho, but I did watch the Yu Yu Hakusho live action, which was actually pretty good. Not gonna lie. Maybe it's because I didn't know the source material, but I missed the fucking reference twice. Was it a reference or was it BS? You know, it's stuff like that. Anyway, I got challenged. Says every fight, only focus on one. We're gonna go over every single tweet individually because this gets funny. So yeah, so I'm like, hell, maybe that's because of the fight where the image is from. I'll make my case regardless. Erza versus Arya. Arya took out a perfectly healthy Makarov, one of the 10 wizard saints, which at the point were the current 10 strongest wizards established in the fairy tale verse. Let me say that. With a sneak attack. Erza, who was still weakened from taking Jupiter, took him out. Relatively tame. I still say relatively tame because they are still both S-class wizards. Maybe there's like just like some kind of thing. Maybe there's just like some kind of like weird balancing, because the way that S-class wizards work is very odd to me, since the guild itself gets to decide who becomes an S-class wizard and who doesn't. But you would assume that an S-class wizard would be on the same level as another S-class wizard from a different guild, even if those guild stipulations are different, because they can go on the same like 10-year, 100-year quests, right? So you would assume that they're like still like kind of on par. But maybe Arya was still like, I don't know, a little bit weaker than Urza. But that's not the point here. The point here is that he was able to take out Makarov. I did say with a sneak attack, and the funny thing about that is people saying, oh, he literally debunked himself in the first sentence, are proving my point. Because why the fuck would he not be able to sneak up on Urza? They're literally at war. Why the fuck would he not be able to do that? He can literally warp air. He can make himself disappear. She doesn't have a nose like Natsu. And battle sense is also something, like intuition, like battle sense is also something that's not on the table. Because Makarov got snuck up on. That was my point. That was my point. And people were like, oh, he debunked himself. Oh, no, you're fucking stupid. Oh, man. More feet than BS. See, like, this take was like, when does she tank a blast capable of wiping out their time, but after she fights the Wind Mage, Jose states that he wouldn't doubt losing to her at her full strength. See, that I can understand, because apparently he does say that. I didn't know that. But remember, like, she was weakened from Jupiter. She was knocked out. You know? What was that? See, like, again, people were like, oh, he's closer to Gajel Juvia level. No, he's an S-class wizard. He's an S-class wizard. Literally. Who would be equal to him? Are you assuming that he's stronger than Makarov, but not Jose? No, that's not what I'm assuming here. What I'm assuming is that he's able to sneak up on Urza, who's weaker than Makarov. At least that's what's supposed to be. Because Urza's not a 10 wizard saint, but Makarov is, you know? And Jose is too. But maybe Jose is... I mean, Jose is weaker than Makarov, right? That was like the ranking. It was like Makarov was like number 6 and Jose was like number... below that. I don't know, it's just... with skill like this. But you also don't understand the scaling. Like, yeah, the element 4 we're seen is like on the same level. But at the same time, it's like he was an S-class wizard. Like, why would you introduce a system like the S-class wizards if your S-class wizards aren't on the same level? I understand that that was kind of like broken when Guild Arts was introduced. But then you had like Locks, but it was like Guild Arts was more like considered like an SS, like an S plus, an SS rank, because Loxus, Mystagon, and Urza were on similar levels because they're, you know, S-class wizards. You know, that's just like one of those things where it's like, why would you introduce the S-class wizard system if the S-class wizards within that system are so vastly different, you know? That doesn't make sense to me. With a sneak attack, bro debunked himself. It's fucking morons like this, alright? It's like, with a sneak attack, my point literally proven. That means that Urza would have been able to be snuck up on as well, especially because she was weakened. And Jose said, hey, I can use the Jose point as a point to defend my point. Jose said if Urza was full power, he wouldn't doubt that he would lose. But that's the thing. She wasn't. And she got beat by Jose. There. Like, that just, again, proves my point. That's a guy. Oh yeah. And, like, these are the kind of people, but there's an even dumber argument. There's an even dumber argument that I've heard. Yeah, it's like, you read? When it falls and you lack media literacy, read Fairy Tail again and make sure you really pay attention. No, because I'm right. We'll get back on that. I think it was like one of the people that quote retweeted me, actually. Against Fairy Tail, likely affects, point of him was getting, oh yeah, this person, you'll see them multiple times, I think. They just throw insults and they don't actually argue why I'm wrong. Did that would be considered hype again, just comparing their Battlefield in every point. I didn't, but hey, we'll get it. There's a fight to the Fairy Tail literacy test. Again, like, you don't understand your own show. You'll see a recurring theme with these people that they all have Fairy Tail profile pictures. They will simp and change the points. They will simp for and change points to fit their narrative. You'll see that later on as well, especially versus Azuma. That one's a big one, and I knew it was going to be a big one. See, I don't have any attachment to this show. I like it. I don't think it's the greatest thing ever created. I also don't think it's as horrible as some people make it out to be. The only, like, attachment that I have to this show is the fact that it was my first anime. That's it. And then I rewatched it recently. Going their own points, I'm giggling, ha! Like, no. Oh, the issue yourself, a sneak attack. It has been proved that S-Class Wizards and Fairy Tail are on a different level. That doesn't make sense. Why would you, again, why would you introduce an S-Class system if you're gonna be like, oh, well, actually, Fairy Tail S-Class Wizards are special. Like, it was a sneak attack, again. Freaking Makarov, who just woke up and used a high-level magic power, expected a sneak attack. Bro was never strong. Yes, he was. Still an S-Class Wizard. Also, he literally talked this time. He literally made his presence known this time. I'm pretty sure he made his presence known, and it was like, oh my god, I got you this time, oh! Like, he literally yells out, like, hey, yeah, I'm here, I got you. Like, no. You're wrong. Like, why would a healthy Makarov and a healthy Arya, why would that suddenly be different from a weakened Makarov and a weakened Arya? Make it make sense. Make it make sense, you know? Even the mangaka doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. They're focused on a thing like plot armor. Yeah, I'm sorry, I just like doing things different, I guess. Most anime fans can just sit back and watch a show dissecting every single detail of a story. Maybe some people actually enjoy dissecting stuff like this. Who are you to gatekeep the way that people enjoy a show? Like, you know, it's like, what the fuck's wrong with you? I like doing this. Why does it hurt you so much? Oh, here it is. This is the take. This is the fucking take where I knew that arguing on Twitter is useless because they don't understand their own show. So blind dude took out an unsuspecting Makarov and got took out by a fully prepared Urza. Means he wasn't that strong in the first place, but getting to jump on people. Unsuspecting Makarov, yes. Fully prepared Urza, she wasn't prepared. She wasn't prepared at all, and she was still weakened from the Jupiter Blast. But the funniest part of this is that Arya isn't even blind. He just covers his eyes to hide his magic power. And that's when I knew. That's when I knew that these people don't understand their own show. Okay, maybe this is a Fate profile picture and not a Fairy Tail profile picture. To self in the same sentence, like, no, you're wrong again. Like, people will say that, oh, you debunked yourself, you debunked yourself. No, I didn't. I was right. Is Wizard Saint level at the start of the series? In the Tower of Heaven arc, they mentioned something like that, right? In the Tower of... yeah, would only accept the sacrifice of a powerful mage on that level, and because Jalal stated it himself. But, like... it's after this arc. But that still doesn't change the fact that Makarov, who's also on a 10 wizard level, like, why would this guy not be able to win against Urza if Urza is, like, weaker than Makarov, but they're almost on the same playing field? I mean, even then, it's like the 10 wizard saint thing It's the same problem with the S-Class system, where the 10 Wizard Saints, the top 4, like the 4 pillars of Ishgard, I think that's what they were called, are so vastly above all the other Wizard Saints that it doesn't really make sense to have the rank of 10 Wizard Saint. And it's like, oh yeah, well, with S-Class Wizards, it's also the same thing. Like, all these S-Class Wizards are actually better than the S-Class Wizards from there. Like, that doesn't make sense. Why would you introduce the system? You know, it's stuff like that, where I'm just like, how? And then, oh yeah, before we continue, let me just say, like and sub. Let me just say, if a post has more likes than another post, that doesn't instantly make it a better point, okay? Because my points are still fucking solid. Makarov Lamau. Yeah, he did. He off guard, and even after Phantom Lord lost, Arya tried that again. And predicted Arya trying to do it again. Yeah, it's like, you know, people don't fall for the same thing twice. But it still happened. Let's not pretend like it didn't happen. Above Arya and all Arya is an amateur. Like, yeah, I know this. That was my point. Makarov was leagues above him, and he still won. And he still took him out. You know, that's my point. It's stuff like this that I read, and I'm like, how do these people not realize that they're wrong? An absolute shocker here, I'm afraid. No, I mean, I did lie down. Thanks, Hereupon Ricky. Good game, by the way. Play Xenoblade Chronicles. But, sometimes you gotta rock the boat a little bit, you know? You gotta share an opinion that's not as popular. And when you set people down and face them with the facts, they'll deny it. They'll deny it. Blissful ignorance and all that. But you sit them down, and it's like, these are the facts. They'll eventually accept them. Give it a day, give it a week. You know, maybe even a year. But they'll come back. They'll come back to this, and they'll be like, hey, this guy was actually right. Which he debunked himself. Okay, what does Gluja thinks, but Arya would have gotten a perfect view if he didn't blind himself. Ill character! Using magic quantity, not a physical attack. He didn't pay attention. How? How did I not pay attention? See, again, this is the stuff where I just think, like, are these people actually fucking brain dead? Because I literally put sneak attack in the tweet itself. And they say, well, it was a sneak attack. You weren't paying attention. What the fuck do you mean I wasn't paying attention? It's literally written right there. You read my tweet and you're like, well, sneak attack. like, this is the shit. These were the people that I was arguing against. Anyway, second fight. Probably one of my least favorite, if not my least favorite Urza fight in general. Ikaruga was able to destroy all of Urza's armor and attacking options until Urza remembered the power of friendship and takes Ikaruga out in one shot. It's where she does the symbolism thing of, like, she doesn't need her armor and she discards her armor for more attack power. Like, she was also, like, covering herself up, like her heart up with the armor. And it's like, yeah, it's a symbolism thing, but from a battle perspective, this made no sense. Like, she was literally... No, I'll save that point for when we get there. Big character growth on Urza's part, dropping her armor and her inner armor to win. I completely understand from a character growth perspective, since it was very symbolic, but from a battle strength standpoint, I personally find it pretty BS, since the fight was so one-sided. It was one-sided... Here it is. You'll see this person multiple times as well. But it was one-sided because Urza never attacked. She sat thinking her armor would protect her. I also apologize for the people coming at you. Hey, that's very nice. But later on, though, they will call me an idiot. So, you know, I don't know which was first. She needed to use offense and she was using armor to protect herself the entire fight. She then uses her strongest offensive armor and beat the opponent who has no special defense. The entire arc was about her character development that you clearly ignored. No, I didn't. It just didn't make sense. You'll understand that soon enough. Because it was one-sided because Urza never attacked. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of the point, you know? She never got an attack in. And the whole point of like, oh, it was just because she thought her armor would protect her? Like in all her other fights, she just took the fucking blows? No, she tried to fight the enemies. And then you have stuff like the Purgatory armor, which honestly doesn't even have that much armor in the armor department. Or what is the other one? No, not this one. The Purgatory armor, which has the strongest attack power, by the way. As she has stated herself. Like, you can literally look this up. Like, this was one of her strongest armors, as she said herself. Oh yeah, people that see this armor, they never live to tell the tale. That's what she said. But then it, like, instantly got destroyed. But then there's the Blackwing armor. The thing that she used against Jose, fun fact. Which barely is armor. You know? It's like, what are you talking about? You know, it's like, she couldn't attack. Not because she thought the armor would protect her. Maybe in part, if we're being generous, maybe in part she thought, oh, the armor was gonna protect her, so she wasn't worried about attacking or something? No, that doesn't make sense. Like, as you, like, continue talking, it makes less and less sense. If you follow that kind of plot line, you know? It's like, yeah, again, it's like, it was so one-sided. She couldn't attack. She was constantly on the defensive. That's what it means to be one-sided, you know? That's the kind of arguments I was getting. Like, no, this is fucking wrong. Yeah, like, I get it from some symbolism stuff, right? But I personally, and I mentioned this later on as well when I make a closing argument thing, I personally don't like that as much. It was like, oh yeah, it's symbolic, and therefore we break all reason and all established power systems and all established canon in the verse for some kind of symbolism. Like, I personally don't like it, and I thought that was pretty obvious that I don't like that, but I block spatial slashes while trapped in a car, so her going full offense against someone she could defend against makes sense. The real disadvantage she had wasn't her sword skill, just the mage she fought. So yeah, so what you're saying is that she would have lost, you know, because the other mage was better. Oh, Urza's stronger than Arya, but the Arya beating Urza does not make sense. Ikaruga's stronger than Urza, clearly, but it's Urza, so she has to win. Honestly, everything that I coined where she just goes like on a big ass inner monologue, like every time she goes on a big ass inner monologue about like, oh, and my friends this, and my friends protect me, and I fight for them, and this, that. I just coined it as the power of friendship. Like, in general. And nothing, like, again, nothing wrong with what they're doing. I just personally don't like it. You like it? Fine. I don't, you know? But again, like, I'm getting dumb arguments that make no fucking sense. Anyway, Ryu wasn't given an explanation in this fight, but it was given one later. The clear cloth outfit makes Urza reduce her defense, but heavily increases both her speed and offense due to not having to put magic into the armor itself, and just the blade. I mean, it's funny that you say, to be fair to you. Yeah, like, yeah. And the thing is about that, clear cloth outfit, I guess that's what it's called, is that later on she uses a different sword. It's like, what's it called, like Beni Zakura? Which is like real strong or something, I don't know. But yeah, it's like, why would she... I just don't understand why she would be able to take out somebody in one shot. You know? Again, that's just poor fight. That's like poor fighting choreography. And it's like, oh yeah, she increased her speed. But like, up to that point, because she was constantly on the defensive, it's safe to assume that Ikaruga was faster at every point. Like, the reason she couldn't attack was because her opponent was so fast and able to cut. And also spatial slashes, you know, stuff like that. There's this offense to its fullest potential. Like, again, it's just like... It's just poorly written fight. It's just a poorly written fight, again. Like... It would have made more sense if they had clashed a couple of times, you know? And she would be like surprised, like, oh my god, suddenly she's super fast, and my slashes can't connect to her like the way that they used to. Even though her slashes are like really fast, and like sometimes it doesn't even look like she's drawing her sword. But benefit of the doubt, right? You know? Like, sometimes she would slash, but it didn't even look like she was drawing her sword. Like, that's how fast they were. But, you know, benefit of the doubt, right? Benefit of the doubt. We destroy via her sword. Erza also goes on to be equal to Ikaruga and ends the fight using her most free armor that doesn't restrict... See, you can't say that she's equal if she one-shot her opponent who has roughed her up so much. Then they're not equals, you know? It doesn't make sense. Like, why would Erza in one state be down here, and then in another be up here? Like, I don't get it. Like, the least that could have happened in that clash between them is that Erza passed out. That's the least that could have happened. The bare minimum was that they both were knocked out. You know? That's the very least. Other than that, it just doesn't make any sense. Oh hey, it's the French guy with his debunk threat. I don't read French. She needs to stop relying. Again, it's just a bunch of symbolism stuff, and I just don't agree. Because they give everything to a powerful attack, but again, then she would have gotten fucking destroyed as well. You know, if her armor was getting fucking destroyed in one swing, then without armor, no defense, she would at least be knocked out. Again, I'll say it again. She would at least be knocked out. And at the most die, you know? But we can't have that, so. Knocked out. Again, just all these are the same thing. Gets boring. Now we get into something where I'm in, whereas, you know, 10% of my opinions are wrong, okay? I have an arm that could counter the magic of the strongest Arasion Sace member. She'll never use it again. Funny, because she actually does never use it again. Took out a Midnight's Illusion because she has an artificial eye, which is how she beat Evergreen. This eye point is really odd to me, it's a continuation thing. Sometimes the eye functions like a real eye that she can cry through, other times it doesn't. It is not a magic eye either. Later on, when she loses her sense of sight, she also loses it in the artificial eye. It makes no sense. Listen, it's like the artificial eye, it only like, the crying thing is like only because like some kind of symbolism of, yeah, she's really sad and she's able to cry through the other eye, you know? So I quickly discarded the eye point because it's pretty petty of me to mention it. I also respond to someone with that as well. But then it's like the armor that could counter the magic of the strongest Rational Sace member. But someone mentioned like, oh, well, she has 200 armors. And to me personally, I think it could have been better if they had like alluded to something like that. Because in her fight versus Ozma, she mentions that she had like seduction armor, which means that like not all her armor is very like battle oriented. And that's like the kind of thing that like foreshadows something that could happen in the future. With this armor, it was kind of like, oh, it's the perfect counter to his magic, which I felt was an ass-pull. I felt that was an ass-pull, but I understand what they would say, like, oh, she has over 200 armors, so there would be something in there that would be able to counter that magic. See, like, but then it's like other armors, like the Sea Empress, the Flame Empress armor, are armors that don't fully counter elemental types. They resist damage from elemental types. You know, it's stuff like that. It's like, but then the perfect counter? That's weird to me. At least that's what I thought. Over a collection of 200. Hey, Slimerinator again. Her case for plot armor. BS, my god, the artificial eye has been a thing and a good counter. Plus, she has hundreds of armors. When she doesn't use them, people complain. But when she does, it's somehow plot armor. This is worse than what Tanjiro and Sasuke does. Again, comparison to a different fucking show. No. Debunk yourself again. This time, I don't know how I debunked myself. Again, they'll say shit like I'm an idiot or I've debunked myself, but they won't actually show how I did. Maybe I should have prompted them into a response, but I was just like, whatever, you know? If they're not gonna tell me why I'm wrong, I'm gonna assume that I'm not actually wrong, and they're just talking out of their ass. You know? Giga-based. Fuck yeah. Yeah, it's like the artificial eye. I did mention it, that she used that to be evergreen. But like, you know, it's stuff like that. That's like, people don't read beyond what's actually written in my tweet for some reason. And when she does, like, again, it's just like, it was a full counter to me. It was weird. Shit ton of armor. She even has a wedding dress. Dumbass. See? Insult for whatever reason. You know? There's to mention every piece of armor she has purchased. No, but there should just be something alluding to that armor. It's like, why I have no beef with the Sea Empress armor that was suddenly shown versus Juvia in the S-Class Wizard thing. It's because in the beginning they showed the Flame Empress armor, you know? So you can safely assume, oh, she has different armors. And like the Lightning Empress armor. She has different armors that counter different elemental types. This makes sense. And like, I don't have beef with other armors, like the Fairy Heart armor that she uses against Ozma. The fact that she uses armor and then like a weapon from a different thing, like, I don't have beef with that. It's just that this one just specifically countered the strongest Oracion Sace member. And people will say, oh, well, he's not actually the strongest Oracion Sace member. What are you talking about? But even Brain says so. And it's like, oh, but Zero exists. But that doesn't make sense to me because they're just the same person. I don't know, the whole Brain and Zero thing, I fucking hate it. It's like, oh, your personality changes, and suddenly the type of magic you can use changes completely, and you become extremely powerful. Actually, he doesn't even use a different magic. No, it's the last thing he used against Natsu. That Natsu could just like break out of for some reason. The Dead End or something? Whatever it was called. Yeah, no, I don't like that fight either. So, like, that thing was different. But I guess people can just like learn whatever magic, right? It's just like the whole thing with like him getting so much stronger when his personality has changed doesn't really make sense to me. So I'm just gonna go based. So I'm just gonna go. I know that's like kind of like, oh well, you're just changing narrative to like just changing the things to fit your narrative. But just like, to me, it doesn't make sense that a different personality would suddenly make you stronger. I don't know. So like, if Brain said, "Hey, Midnight's strongest," It's that stuff, you're right. The strongest Razians can be their master. Master Zero is the strongest member of the Dark Guild. See, like, again, I don't understand why Zero would suddenly be stronger than Brain. And Brain said Midnight was the strongest. Resistance shit shows its resistance. Again, like, I fucking mentioned it. I fucking mentioned it. It just, like, the eye doesn't... Like, to me, the eye was like... I don't understand how the eye works, exactly. But that's, again, me just looking for the realism. When it's symbolism. But yeah, like, I surrendered this point. I did say, in the end, hey, yeah, I was wrong. Where did I say it? Ah. She has used armors that defend against types of magic like the Flame Empress, Sea Empress armors, but none of them fully negate magic effects like this specific armor did. I remember Brain stating that Midnight was the strongest member. I think Zero and Brain are similar in power, and the problem was that everyone had expended most of their magic. Yeah, exactly. That was another thing that happened. Everyone had already fought other Racion 6 members, and they were beaten up, but they still had to fight Zero. Could be wrong, so I'm forfeiting the Midnight point altogether, including the part about the eye, because of my lack of understanding. There you go. That's what happened. That's what I said about that. That's where it's 10%. And this is like the continuation of that. This one I fucking despise. It was a big one. I fucking despise this part because everyone's just so fucking wrong. I had obtained and was using the magic of the Tenro Island. Confirmed. Later on, you'll see manga screenshots that literally confirm this. Ozma had barely taken damage. This was actually an anime thing. I think the animators cut corners there, which, to be fair, to me, you understand my confusion. You'll later on again see a manga screenshot that shows something different. Was draining the magic of the other guild members, yet somehow, someway, he still lost. Why? Because Urza remembered the power of friendship. Oh yeah, my friends are protecting me! Ugh. Later on there will be a point about the magic power itself that I fucking disagree with, as well. And then I'm like, oh, before you hit me with the magic of Tenro Island was protecting her. For one, guild members were able to die when Ozma took the magic. Two, his dice were definitely hurting her. And finally, you mean to tell me that she was stronger than the entire guild combined. Because, again, he was using the magic that he drained from the island and the people on the island. He used the magic. Again, he wasn't using the magic of Tenro. He wanted it to be a fair fight, which is why Urza kept her magic. Those are two separate things. With Ozma's magic, he can control the magic power of the island he's on, and him not draining Urza's magic doesn't mean he wasn't using the magic from Tenro Island. Again, this stuff is confirmed. You say yeah, nah, but like again, you don't. Think she remember the power of friendship is just a bot response. Get serious. All the 7 uses lost magic, meaning there's a massive drawback of using it too much. And Dragon Slayer is also lost magic, and like I'll go into that as well. Keep leaving out because I have like a quick thing about Dragon Slayers as well. Major details about all these fights. He lost because he overused it, causing the magic to turn on him. Like no, he didn't. Well, yes, in the end, when Urza fucking cut him, then he wasn't able to keep his magic under control. And he overused it. Yes, absolutely. But the Terra Clamare, that's the move that he used twice, should have taken out Urza. Should have. Since it was magic infused with the magic of the island. When he was draining the magic of the guild members. You know, that's why I asked the question of, so she's suddenly stronger than all of the members of the guild. You know, so his original power, Urza says it wasn't her protecting them, it was them protecting her because her power was returned to her and being used against Ozma. The thing about the original power, that's something that I'm always very confused about, because you can learn every magic. You can learn every magic. Like, there's no original power that a character has, you know? no original magic. You can be like, oh, well, Ultir's original magic was Ice Make, because she's Ul's daughter, right? Oh, her original is that. But that doesn't mean it's her original. No, she just learned it from her mother. And again, it's just because the lost magic has a drawback. It's not because it's the original power or something. Again, that's just like another thing where people just don't really understand. And then this part definitely pissed me off. There's no rule saying that the island can't take back its power, especially since Mavis was there. There's also no rule saying that the island can. Again, it's just a convenient way of turning the narrative into something that benefits you. You know, it's just like, there's no rule saying that it's this. And there's also no, at the end of the thing, there was also no explanation for why suddenly this magic would have protected Urza. Maybe. But I do mention that part later on in a response to someone, because I think that's like one of my best arguments. I think it's this one. Know that she used the power of friendship of the island, which protects the members to reduce the damage Urza would take, and Ozma is amped the entire time, having the entire magic of the island under his control. Proving my point. Literally. And there are manga screenshots. He allows Urza to keep her own magic, and that is legit his downfall. But again, he was using the magic of not only himself, but also the island. Yeah, there's like a bunch of... See, like, I do appreciate this. I appreciate this when people actually take their time to do research and tell me like, oh yeah, this is why you're wrong. Or at least try to tell me, right? Provoking Urza, yeah, we know. It's like, oh yeah, but it's like, oh, you finished Wendy off, but you didn't, just making her angry. Just basically explain the fight. But there's this, you try, oh yeah, Ozma then explains the entire island is protected by every single fairy tale member. Is protecting every, you try and denounce it saying, well, they were dying. No, that's how it works. When the Tenro tree was cut, it was possible for them to die. I didn't say they were dying, I said they were able to die. That's different. Because Ozma destroyed the tree, nerfing everyone, but Urza for Ozma, that Ozma's selfish reason. He's also stealing their magic. Again, proving my point. Stealing their magic. Those are magic fights, even her friends' lives who are on the line. Later on, we'll have a discussion about Second Origin, and it shows that the people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Meet Ozma, he'll return the magic back and grant the island control back over to itself. It's like this, wait, what was it? Oh yeah, and attacks Ozma, landing a massive attack, from her fairy armor. Yeah, she does the Venus foot on Slicer. And this is what he looks like here, but in the anime, he does not have any of these scratches. He's completely unharmed. Literally. In the anime. And that's where, like, a little bit of a misconception is. Like, oh yeah, he barely took damage. Yeah, that part was wrong. Okay. A little bit of an over-exaggeration. He did take damage, but Urza took more damage. That was the thing. So no, I wasn't trying to denounce that they were they were dying. No, it was they're able to die. It's different. Magic fight to the more determined goal. Blot again. She just takes more damage than Ozma. Again, restrains her attacks. And when does nothing, she'll have to use all her power. Usually sees and understands she's leaving herself open and concentrating all her magic power into her sword. Again, this is another thing that just doesn't make sense. She drops her defense again. This means that if she takes an attack, it should do way more damage than when she has armor on. Again, same thing with Ikaruga. He uses the magic power from under the island that Urza trying to end the fight with a Terra Clamare, thinking he's won. Physically taking his damage from her, as shown here when he thinks he's beaten her. Urza would then, just hears Jalal and then, whoa, I'm awake again, even though she dropped her defense down and he used the magic power of the island that he fused himself with. Like, again, it's just like, it doesn't make sense. She would have lost. she would have lost. And he has to use the island magic. And see, now he actually does use it. So she was already knocked out. Knocked out. Literally knocked out without the island's magic. And then he uses the same move again with the magic power of the island. If I'm reading this correctly. Fight Hong-Goon. I don't know, they're just dropping some stupid insults in there. Like, you can't even have a normal civil discussion. Yeah, and then they fucking, boom, it's the Terra Clamare again. But this time amped up with the power from the island. Remember that the previous one, without the magic from the island, knocked her out. But now she's able to go through it. Why? The power of friendship. Literally. They'll say shit like, oh, well actually, the island's magic was actually still protecting them and you can't use against Fairy Tail members, even though the Great Tree arc literally converts that energy, literally has you take control over that energy. It doesn't make sense. And later on, I mentioned something else about that, because the person that gave the order was the second guild master from Fairy Tail. It wouldn't make sense if the magic would work that way that I just described, because the second guild master from Fairy Tail did not know that. Which is dumb. That wouldn't make sense. And Bond, so not only did you make a business claim about Ozma being unscratched, I didn't even say unscratched. Again, like, you just said something wrong. I said barely took damage. I didn't say unscratched. I did like this because, like, I did like the fact that he took the time to post manga screenshots. So yeah, Here I Go responds, to be fair, this is what it looked like after taking the Venus Photon Slicer in the anime, which could be the animators cutting corners and showing a previous scene. To be fair. Overall, however, he took less damage than Urza, which is why I said barely any damage. Again, I said barely any damage, not unscratched. But hey. He also proved that he does in fact use the island's magic, and then say that this magic was still protecting Urza regardless of Asuma's control, which would mean that Hades, the second guild master, did not know how Tenro Island's magic worked. Hades, who we can assume gave Azuma his magic since he gave Ultius hers, hatched this entire plan based on that magic just for it to turn out completely useless. This, in my opinion, is bullshit. And it's the truth. How would the second guild master not know about that little silly detail about the Holy Lands, the Fairy Tail Holy Lands magic? Like, it's just... Like, it doesn't make sense. It's shitty writing. If it was anyone else giving the order, I could maybe give you some kind of leeway. Maybe extend a little olive branch. Like, oh yeah, maybe it's because they don't actually know about Fairy Tail's history. No. This guy fucking knows. This guy is literally the second guildmaster. And he knows all the secrets of Fairy Tail. Like, there is no explanation for this. It's just poor writing. It's, again, just a little bit of symbolism. A little bit of plot armor, you know? Like, I don't have to like it. Again, it's like, if you think this is okay, fine. Whatever. What can I do, right? It's like, doesn't matter to me. But I can also share my opinion on why I think this is bad, you know? Like, I just think that I was right. But the magic of Tenro Island was... We're able to die. Again, I say it here. We're able to die. Just in case. And here. Also, had barely taken damage. I didn't say 0 damage. I didn't say unscratched. I didn't say they were dying. I said we're able to die. Like, I understand the show. And these people are on some military grade copium. And it's insane to me. But again, they'll come back to this thread. And they'll be like, oh, maybe he was right. Maybe he was right. But it's fine if you disagree with some writing things that the mangaka did. If you disagree with the writing of your favorite show sometimes, that's fine. You're allowed to criticize it. You're free, you know? It's not because you have something negative to say about it that you suddenly fucking hate it, you know? You can still love something and have criticism for it. You know, my favorite game. I don't have a favorite anime. It's like, well, technically One Piece is like my favorite anime, but like One Piece isn't finished, so I'm not gonna hold out the favorite anime card to that. But like, so my favorite game is Hollow Knight. but Deep Nest exists, you know? It's like, I love Hollow Knight. Almost everything about it is amazing. The freedom, the combat, simplistic, but actually kind of a little bit intricate with the charms. But Deep Nest exists. And that's a bad thing, you know? That's the thing. That's it. You cannot like something in your favorite show, favorite game, and still love it. It's fine. It's fine. You don't have to be afraid to dislike something about it. Not everything is perfect, you know? The moment something perfect exists, everything else is just gonna feel monotonous. And so I posed the question. So, in the process of dying, like, they were in the process of dying, and now you, this is the same person, by the way, who beforehand said that I was an idiot for saying that they were dying, even though that's not what I said. But now they say the same thing. They were in the process of dying. Like, what the fuck? Taking the magic from them. Lumphao? Yes, I literally said this. Says he's against this plan and wants to fight Urza and will restore her friend's magic. Yeah, only if she wins. And in the end, he himself said, oh, realizing he couldn't win or that she wasn't knocked out, he used the magic from the island. Again, that's literally something that he said. He's contradicting himself. He's debunking himself. But when he does it, good job. But when I do it, oh, dumbass. Like, no one died against Ozma. We're able to die. I can't. What the fuck do you think we're able to die means? Like this. These are the people that I'm arguing against on Twitter. Like, I shouldn't post my opinions on Twitter because the people that I can see my opinion don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. Shon was losing a fight. Yeah, again, just like the French guys, just like, I don't know. Do I actually respond to this? No, I don't, right? Also, correction, like, you were even wrong in your own fucking... watch Fairy Tail anymore? Apparently the people that like Fairy Tail don't watch their fucking show. So, we had another noteworthy being versus Kyoka. That's the one where she lost all 5 of her senses. Which literally makes no fucking sense why she would still be able to use it. And whereas Irene, but I'm bored now. I mean, all that cope and seed. It's just this fucking guy, specifically. This fucking guy pissed me off. Like, why would you have such an unoriginal opinion? I want to save the embarrassment. Yeah, this was the person that I said before, like, I'm sorry for everyone coming at you. Now they're saying shit like, oh, save yourself the embarrassment. What, because a lot of people got more likes against me? Against my opinion? Is that why? Is that why? Now suddenly you feel like if you shit on me, you're gonna be part of cool kids? Jesus Christ, that's the kind of person. You're assigning Kyoka the entire fight. Getting the sixth sense is nothing new. But that doesn't mean you can feel the fucking sword in your hand. That doesn't mean you know exactly where someone is. Every time the sixth sense has come into play, it's when a character doesn't even lose their senses at all, or loses like one of them. That's when the sixth sense comes into play, not when you lose all your senses. Because that just literally makes no fucking sense. For the sixth sense to suddenly work then. If it's not just anime. Like, this way weaker than Urza, or at least Continental. If you disagree, then we'll go down that route. Also, Dorma Anim jumped into space to dodge an attack, so Urza being able to move up with one arm shouldn't be a huge complaint. Dorma Anim, by the way, is the metallic dragon from Edlus that was using up all the magic power that Edlus had obtained through Anima. And it was burning through it very rapidly, just so he could take out the Dragon Slayers, by the way. So using a gigaton of energy. You know? Just felt like mentioning that. Versus Urza, who had already been fighting for multiple days and then only had like mobility in one arm. Just felt like wasn't out of power or tired. Yes, she was. That's literally the problem. And then there was like some other stuff. Yo, I don't understand what you're saying. This is just like, oh yeah, I think this guy. Yeah, I had like a whole back and forth with that guy. Hold up. Here, this one's still pretty important because this is where I mentioned like second origin and stuff. Damn, I guess a character that can't have endurance anymore because according to this guy's Zoro's nothing happened when it was plot armor as well. It's like, again, like why would you compare it to a different show? If all her magic is used up, she'd be dying. That's been established in canon, but second origin exists. If you're out of magic, by the way, you don't die. You can be out of magic. It's losing your magic rapidly that makes you develop the magic deficiency syndrome. That's what happened to Makarov when Arya took his magic away in an instant. Again, something you could have done against Urza. And it happens to Natsu as well, or... yeah, it happens to Natsu as well. It doesn't happen to Lucy because Lucy was in the middle of using Urano Meteora against Flare. So she had already like expended most of her magic, so like there wasn't a lot of magic to drain anymore, so she doesn't actually develop magic deficiency syndrome. But I think it happened to Natsu. It happened to another character, but I don't think it was Lucy. Again, but like, here we go. This is going to be happening in two different comments for some reason. It's different. The nothing happened scene didn't have huge ramifications when it comes to the story. Urza was pulling off these feats when lives were at stake. Is the music done? No. Yeah, it's like... Urza's pulling off these feats when lives were at stake. You can have endurance, but there are limits, like losing all 5 senses limits. When it comes to second origin, let's just continue down this path real quick. After she activated in the Grand Magic games, she has always been using second origin. It just wouldn't make sense if she wasn't using it because her comrades' lives were at stake after that arc. This is also why I have no beef with the Grand Magic games arc, since she did these things at half strength. Also my favorite arc. You know, little... No, she hasn't, the fuck. The whole reason second origin was revealed was that it's a backup pool of magic so that you don't die. That's why Natsu vs Zancro made sense. If she was really using it more often, we'd be seeing the Nakagami armor more. In this case, she still has magic power left because of second origin. This again just proves that they don't understand their own show. But this is a One Piece avatar, so not necessarily a Fairy Tail fanboy. So maybe they don't actually understand their show. Second origin was revealed so they could catch up to the 7-year time gap. Natsu emptied his magic to take in new magic. Dragon Slayer lungs are capable of doing it. Nakagami armor drains a massive amount of magic, and she said second origin released during Grand Magic games. She never says this again. Exactly my point. Ultra even explained that it's a backup pool of magic. To say she's going to continue to use second origin in the next 2 arcs plus the movie Dragon Cry would be to forget that Urza is smart, plus not like her magic replenishes over time. Oh wait, it does. Again, these are just stupid arguments. So Urza is a masochist who likes to get beat up then. Like, why would you not fight at full strength against enemies that literally threaten to kill you? And kill all your friends. It wouldn't make sense for her to not activate to stop Face, which would have gotten rid of all magic against an opponent who uses curses, basically infinite magic, or not activate it to stop Irene from killing Wendy. Again, Like, people will say, on one hand, she fights for her friends, and if she has, and she even says herself, if she has the strength to protect her friends, she would sacrifice everything. But those same people will then say, well, actually, she wasn't using all of her strength, you know, because she's smart. Meanwhile, all of her friends are threatened, are almost dying, you know? If she doesn't beat this enemy, like, all her friends are going to lose their magic, or they're all gonna die. Like, it doesn't make sense. You can't argue one and the other. No, she's just smarter than what you're making her out to be. It's not like she needs to use it all the time. She probably did use it against Face and against Irene after the fact she was exhausted, but the pool of magic isn't being drained stupidly fast like with Natsu. And now they're just like saying, oh, well, maybe she did, maybe she didn't. And then I just respond with, it's really convenient to say, oh, she probably used it here or there, when the one time we can truly confirm her using it is when she explicitly states she's going to use it. There is no continuity. It would make more sense to assume it is always active. But at the same time, this Urza was a smart person, like, that's going to use her magic in a way that's not draining, especially seeing as what's happening in Constance of the Arts. She'll likely also try to replenish her magic by resting as well. Again, these are just non-arguments. Like, you can repeat the same thing again, but that doesn't make your point any more valid. Like, what's happening here is like, oh, she'll try to replenish her magic by resting as well. That's not what happened during the war. She was fighting constantly. And then she fought Irene. So she had no time to rest her magic. She didn't just say, oh, let me take a nap right now. You know? It's like, again, these are non-arguments. And then there's the other side. It was when we were talking about the other comparison. Didn't have huge ramifications. I see the whole purpose of that scene was Zoro took on Luffy's pain for him. The fuck? I can understand the losing 5 senses fight because it wasn't explained that well. It was just, that's Urza for you, and a fighter can gain a 6th sense. Taking someone's pain versus losing the lives of many people are very much different. Yeah, like, come on. And like, if you're caught up on the current manga, you would know that that nothing happened scene kind of has less impact. Because you know Kuma's, like, backstory, you know. It's still important to the plot of One Piece, but again, we're just comparing two different shows. God, it pisses me off when people just bring in different shows to prove a point when that doesn't make sense. Like, keep it within the verse. Even then, there's still plenty of examples like Zoro vs. King, where he's literally drugged and sees the Grim Reaper after, and somehow survives. I don't like that scene either, but I wasn't trying to compare two verses. I was purely talking about Urza's fights in Fairy Tail. Only made the comparison just now because you brought it up. Only comparing them because it makes sense. Zoro's endurance and so does Urza. Why is it that her fights are all of a sudden plot armor and some of his aren't? Because Zoro is another can of worms that I wasn't touching. I was purely talking about Urza. Even with her endurance and tolerance to pain, it doesn't magically give her more magic. In Canada, she has 2 pools of magic. Again, second origin is what it's talking about, and second origin I proved that it makes no fucking sense for her to sometimes use it and sometimes not. I just stopped arguing with this guy because this guy wasn't listening to my points. Into he said pool's stupid fast, like she was at 40% of her second origin pool, maybe due to all the fighting she had done previously. Like, it's just a non-point at this point. Like, he's basically saying, yeah, she was using second origin the whole time, which means that he was agreeing with me, which means that there's no fucking reason for me to continue this conversation. But yeah, that's me, getting cancelled. Yeah, there was also the, I'll be debunking them all when I get home. Where's that? Where's that? And then there's just like arguments like this where it's like, I don't see how this is any more different than anything else Urza has done. That's my point. all of it's bullshit. That was my point. Yeah, okay, maybe not all of it's bullshit. Oh, I'm sorry, I over-exaggerated a little bit. Last arc literally emphasized Urza can be counted out. Like, oh, the last arc really emphasized that Urza can do the impossible, so she can break all the rules of the verse just because. How do you not see that that's poor writing? How do you not see that that's poor writing? That's genuine question. How do you not see that's poor writing? You know? Then they were like talking about Acnologia's physical body and all that, but like I was only talking about Urza, so I didn't really go into the Natsu and Acnologia thing. But yeah, they basically say like what I was saying earlier, of like he was trying to keep the time rift under control, and like Natsu was infused with the 7 powers, with the 7 Dragon Slayers. But yeah, like there was this whole thing about Lost Magic, like the Great Tree arc and overusing it. But like the first time we're introduced to Lost Magic, which fun fact is the Dragon Slayers, they immediately had an answer to it, which was, you know, it's just like, oh, well, we've already counteracted it actually beforehand. There's no way that they can overuse it anymore. It's so weird. It's so weird. And like with the and then it's like the Irene fight. No, there was somebody that said like, oh, you mean to tell me that something about a half dragon, like Urza is a normal person because of half dragon, this, that. That was something that I had a fucking problem with as well. I'm sorry. Badass is plot armor. Like, yeah, it's like, if it's plot armor, it's plot armor. It's like, whatever, you know. If it's a badass scene, cool, like, whatever, you can enjoy it in whatever way you want. But it doesn't mean I have to like it. I like to take a step back and look at it. It's something that I actually said to someone. La, la, la. I mean, sometimes they call it clear heart armor. Other times they call it clear cloth armor. And that's like another one of those things was like, do they even know? What was this? It was like, how's the plot armor? Like, again, just mentioning a different fucking show entirely. Like, shut up. Do and destroy universe. That comparison makes literally no sense. Yeah, thank you. It's like, why would you fucking compare 2 completely different power scalings and power systems? Entire point, I said that for a reason. If Spring 12 were continental at low ball, why would Urza not be able to destroy a meteor? It also would prove is that she was tired or out of magic. The Spriggan 12 were, you know, continental at a low ball, but like they were just as strong as the strongest wizard, confirmed wizard, God Serena, the strongest wizard of Ishgard, by the way. Just throwing that out there. Hell, maybe they should have updated the rankings because Urza would have been number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, and number 10. Like, fuck off. You know, it's just like, I was tired out of magic. And then it's like, oh no, the constant fighting where she's done with barely any rest might have something to do with it. But I don't know. See, this fucking person's so giga-based. They actually get it. When you're there to heal her. Like, again, that's just you not understanding what Wendy's healing does. Wendy doesn't heal wounds. Wendy heals your stamina. The wounds don't disappear when Wendy heals you. Sharia is the one that heals you, heals your wounds. That was the whole point. When Wendy fought Sharia, the reason Sharia missed her move was because Wendy restored her stamina so that she would put too much power into the move and miss her. That was the point. Well, because Urza's stronger than them. Like, no, how would you know that she was stronger? And at the same time, it was a 2v1 and Irene was still waxing them. So, you know, it's like, maybe at the lowest 80% her head was bleeding at the start of the fight because she did that. To herself, she looked tired because of her weird sense. She switched body with Wendy. Urza was nowhere near winning. Didn't even crawl. In Dragon form, there's multiple proofs they can bring up. Which they don't. But it's like, there's no reason to respond because they basically just prove what we've been saying. You know? It's like, We were starting to look tired when she switched bodies with Wendy. No, it's just her getting used to it. Hey, chat, if you get into somebody else's body, somebody that's shorter than you, maybe, and just functions differently than yours, you know, would you immediately be able to be accustomed to that body? No, right? Like, what the fuck is this non-point? She looked there's mountains of evidence, and then it was like, oh, she looked tired. Shut up. But there was like a point that was mentioned. I think there was like another response that I did. Wait, maybe if I look at my own me. Look at my profile. I can look at replies, maybe. Sexical things. Funny. Holy shit, he's so hot. Goddamn. Did I set that Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood is the one thing that I thought was boring? And I was like, wee woo. Yeah, so we've already gone over this. Yeah, like, this was the one thing where it was like, it's fine, I think these scenes are awesome, I won't deny, but I also like to take a step back and think, was this actually possible? And enjoy these stories in whatever way you want. I personally like to think about the world that's being built. Both scenes were awesome. Like, it's like, yeah, whatever. It's like, yeah, they might be awesome, but for how controversial it is. And then there was this fucking tweet that was like, Earth is built different. Since the start, the author couldn't have made it more clear that she's a monster with insane endurance. Oh hey, that's me! That's me! That thread was my 9/11. And then it was like, the closing thoughts. I didn't talk about this yet. Whee. Oh yeah, as I said, this person is just gonna throw insults. Can't believe I'm talking to a very dumb person who lacks reading comprehension. Not worth it. But like, I literally say exactly what Azuma states. And it's like, oh, lacks reading comprehension. But this is literally verbatim what the fuck Azuma said. Blind protection with Fairy Tail members on the island and amplifies their magic. By destroying the tree, Azuma took away that protection. After that, he says, and now, which implies that it is something separate from destroying the tree. It wasn't really that interesting of a talk anyway. All you've really done is throw insults instead of arguing why I was wrong. Giga-based. I'm stealing away to... Yeah, he said, and now I am stealing away the magic power of every Fairy Tail wizard. But again, it was confirmed that he was in fact stealing away the power from the fucking wizards. Like, this person was talking to me like they fucking knew me. It was weird. It was like, oh, Brian, do better. Oh yeah, there was also this thing. I thought it was only about the magic training thing. Could be misremembering that part. Yeah, it was like... If you're against Urza or on our side, but no one died, and Yesh was 100% protected by the sacred power, magic power, considering none has a magic stronger than the entire. Was using the magic from the Tenor Island, which strengthens Fairy Tail members. On top of that, the Fairy Tail members were actually actively getting their magic power drained. That's what I mean by her being stronger, or at least her magic power supposedly being stronger. Just odd. I thought that was only about the magic draining thing. Could be misremembering that part. Nearly draining their magic, the Fairy Tail members were fighting non-stop. The Tenor Tree was protecting them from dying and increasing their magic power. Osmond was ordered to destroy the tree so it would stop protecting all of the Fairy Tail members, but later on, I did confirm, yes, their magic was in fact being drained. But at the time, I didn't like immediately look it up. I just like said, hey, maybe. So yeah, this guy is like, to the rescue. No, Ozma was draining their magic. Thank you. I don't understand that guy. Sometimes he insults me, and other times he defends my point. So, I don't know. That guy was weird. I like him though, because he actually like took the time. Like, he actually took the time to say stuff and like do his research. I like him. Anyway, let's just go to my closing thoughts. It was like, I still like Fairy Tail. I personally just don't like the way some of it was written. A lot of debate around symbolism versus realism. Realism, you know, established in the verse. and by realism I mean like, oh yeah, well it's anime, like real. It's not real, but like the realism from like the things that were established in the verse. Please stop talking about the eye thing. I knew it was a bad point. Again, it was just from a lack of understanding. Like, it was a petty thing. And I also mentioned that, but I guess I didn't find it. I read a whole thing about Urza vs. Evergreen. Even mentioned that she never used her swords with her feet again. After which I quickly scratched. Yeah, I was gonna make a point like that. Arya is stronger than people think. Again, S-class wizard. I'm right about Ozma vs. Urza. I'm wrong about Midnight vs. Urza. And everything else I'm right. Again, I'm right. You know, after getting to jump on people. Urza's weakened from Jupiter. Arya's an S-class mage. And quote from the wiki: Arya possesses white dark eyes, topped by thin dark eyebrows, which are usually hidden by a simple light fold, which he uses to restrain his power. He's not blind. He's not blind. Yeah, I did say, like, the eye thing is granted a little petty of me to bring up because I don't get how it works, since sometimes it functions like a normal eye with her being able to cry from it, and other times it doesn't. It might just be to add more emotion to certain scenes. Like, you know, like, yeah, as I said, it was like, oh yeah, it's a little bit petty. That's my fault. Did I really, like, respond to this? Point was that he could have used the same tactic against Urza since he was able to surprise one of the strongest established wizards. Yeah, I did respond to one person that said I debunked myself. Probably the first one. And then, like, everyone else just kind of followed. Copycats. Pfft, cringe. To surprise one of the strongest established wizards. Again, that fight was relatively tame compared to other examples. How is he going to surprise attack her when she knows it would be coming, and when she was the one who arrived to the fight with him, and not the other way around? I assume the ability is warping the air around him so he can be invisible to the naked eye, and since Urza doesn't have Natsu's nose, she can't identify where he is, and because he snuck up on Makarov, sensing animosity is off the table as well. Battle sense. That's what I mean. Again, like, read between the fucking lines. Sometimes. But yeah, that's about it. I was cancelled on Twitter. I was cancelled on Twitter. Cool. Yeah. But as you can see, as you can hear, I was right. I was right. Fucking hell. Please don't be porn. Please don't be porn. I hope Asmon likes HSR. You still played the shit Oreo game. What a loser. Game is trash. How can one game look so terrible? It looks amazing, by the way. Way better than Genshin. By the way. Speaking of Genshin, excellent transition. There was this Hollow Knight-ish Genshin game